His Excellency, the Governor of North Carolina, Pat McCrory.
You know, this is a wonderful occasion that we're having here, an historic occasion with an historic document. And one of the great things I like about working in this building is every time I walk from the governor's house to this building, I think of the people before us that helped make this state what it is today. And as you especially come into this incredible rotunda with the plaques and the statues and the history, it reminds us that we didn't get here by accident. We got here through a lot of hard work of people who risked their lives to make this state what it is today. That's why I want my office in this building instead of one of the more modern buildings in Raleigh. My office is right behind this wall. And every time I walk back home, I walk by even the Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence, where I used to be mayor. And I'm reminded back on May 20th, 1775, that some people risked their life. But our history goes way even beyond that, over 300 years beyond that. And our great Secretary of Cultural Resources is making sure, as part of her job, that part of cultural resources is to remind us of our history, which made our culture existent today. And she is doing an absolutely incredible job in her first 11 weeks in office, because I'm telling you, every cabinet meeting, we had one this morning at 8 o'clock, every cabinet meeting, she gives us another history lesson or a lesson on the arts or culture, and she has the whole cabinet spellbound. You know why she can do this? It's because she used to be a mayor. She was the mayor of Salisbury, North Carolina for many years. She was reelected time and time again. The people actually loved her. And one of the reasons they loved her is Salisbury was actually also another city of great history. And they preserved the history a wonderful way in Salisbury. And that's one of the reasons I made her Secretary of Cultural Resources, is because she has this passion for the arts and for history to make sure the next generation never forgets how we got here. And that, to me, is our goal, is to remind the next generation and the young fifth graders coming through here of how we got here. And then they can explain to their children and grandchildren as they get old like us. How's that? I came here in fifth grade in 1966 and went on a tour of this building and what was then the brand new legislative building. And we want those tours to continue so people remember our history. And this is the wonderful person who's helping us do this in the state. It's my honor to introduce the Secretary of Cultural Resources, the Honorable Susan Kluttz.
Thank you to the governor. And aren't we fortunate to have a governor that understands how important our history is? Aren't we fortunate to have him? Thank you for being here with us today, because this is such an important day in the state of North Carolina. You know, just 1 week ago, we were here in the state capitol to commemorate the 10th anniversary of the recovery of the copy of the Bill of Rights, just 1 week ago tonight. Today, we remember an event of much greater vintage, but of no less importance. Indeed, we gather to mark the 350th anniversary of the Carolina Charter, sometimes called the birth certificate of the Carolinas. In 1663, King Charles II issued the charter to 8 of his friends, the Lords Proprietors, and it established the first lasting government for our region. In the spring of 1947, word reached North Carolina that the Carolina Charter had been placed on sale by a British antique dealer. The discovery created a flurry of interest in Raleigh. Contact was made with the dealer and a courtesy hold was put on the copy. Investigators commenced to determine if the document was authentic. Questions arose about whether it was the only or original copy. The British Public Records Office indicated that there was a working copy without a seal or other embellishments, and scholars agreed it was unlikely that all 8 proprietors had received copies. In 1948, Governor J. Melvin Broughton announced and launched a campaign to raise $6,000, the price negotiated with the dealer. Public-minded citizens, families such as the Cones, the Grays, the Moorheads, and Preservation North Carolina, then known as the Antiquities Society, chipped in and the purchase was made. The General Assembly subsequently agreed to purchase a fireproof safe to house the document. In 1959, the General Assembly established a commission to plan and conduct a celebration honoring the 300th anniversary of the Charter in 1963. The commission sponsored commemorative events throughout the state, promoting activities to highlight North Carolina's colonial history. Their initiatives included the landmark endeavor to revive the Colonial Records of North Carolina series. The 300th Anniversary Commission ceased to function on December 31st, 1963, but its impact continued. The Carolina Charter Corporation was formed as an auxiliary nonprofit organization in 1960. That group's purpose was to support the celebration and to solicit donations for related undertakings. Most notably, that support has been generously extended to the Colonial Records Project. We have many individuals to thank for bringing us today's celebration. The original donors to the effort to return the Charter to North Carolina, the members of the Charter Corporation, and the professionals within the Department of Cultural Resources who care for this priceless document. Please join me in thanking them. It's my great honor to announce today Governor Pat McCrory's proclamation celebrating the 350th anniversary of the Carolina Charter of 1663 and designated March 21st through the 30th, 2013 as Carolina Charter Week in North Carolina. Thank you for celebrating this 350th birthday of our beloved Carolina. And I would like to turn it over now to Mike Hill, who is our Cultural Resources Branch Supervisor, and he will now read the proclamation.
Whereas March 24th, yesterday, 2013 marks the 350th anniversary of the signing of the Carolina Charter of 1663, and whereas this four-page document has been called the Birth Certificate of the Carolinas and includes the first official use of the name Carolina, and whereas Charles II ascended to the English throne in 1660 with the aid of 8 friends, the Lords Proprietors, Edward Hyde, George Monk, William Craven, John Berkeley, Anthony Ashley Cooper, Sir George Carteret, Sir William Berkeley, and Sir John Colleton. And whereas, as a reward for their loyalty, Charles II granted them all of the territory between 31 degrees and 36 degrees north latitude from the present Georgia-Florida boundary northward to the middle of Albemarle Sound. And as a footnote, that was extended on up to the Virginia line in 1665. And from the Atlantic Ocean westward to the South Seas, which became known as the Pacific Ocean. And whereas the 1663 Charter provided the basis for the beginning of representative government in North Carolina by requiring that laws promulgated by the proprietors be enacted, quote, with the advice, assent, and approbation of the freemen of the said province, or of the greater part of them, or of their delegates or deputies, unquote. And whereas the original charter surfaced in 1947 and was made available for sale by an antiquarian British bookseller of Guildford, Surrey. And whereas the importance of the document led former Governor J. Melville Broughton to request funds from private donors to purchase it for approximately $6,000 on October 24, 1949. And whereas the charter has been displayed in the Museum of History and now resides in the vault of the North Carolina State Archives and is exhibited for special occasions. Now, therefore, I, Pat McCrory, Governor of the State of North Carolina, do hereby proclaim March 24 to 30, 2013 as Carolina Charter Week in North Carolina and commend its observance to all citizens.